Hi everyone, welcome to our live. I'm just going to take the time just to get the comments up, so give me a moment. My iPad is super dead, so bear with me. And of course this is the right time for Facebook to do an update on my iPad. Won't be long, guys. Sorry, I can't see. I did try to flip the camera so that I could see the comments on my camera, but unfortunately it turned me green. I don't know what that's about. Now, where am I? Here. Alrighty. And you can't see my face, but that's okay. You don't need to see my face. So let's just see how we're going. Once again, can't see comments, but here we go. Now I can. Hi Deirdre. Hey you cool cat Paul. Hi Beck. Hi Sam, glad you're back. So of course you're gonna get cut off. I'll try and like hunch down, but the focus that I want from you guys to see anyway is the machine and what we're doing on the mat, because that's the part that counts. So you don't really need to see my face. Hey Chris. Hey Wendy. Hey Natasha. Oh, that was loud. Hey Sky. Alrighty, I'll just wait for a few more people to jump on. How's everyone's day been? I've been super tired today, very lethargic, very exhausting day at work. Hey Jen. Hey Tracy. Hey Robin. I'm just gonna say hey for a bit. Jump on and say hey. Oh, hey you cutie pie Sam. Good evening Norma, we're very formal apparently. You've been busy Deirdre. Oh, I've been very busy too. So I'm not going to break the internet like Paul did last week, that's for sure. But we've got a few people jumping on, so I should get started. You can probably see the bags under my eyes. I'm just not sleeping very well, and I was actually up until like 1 o'clock in the morning or 1:30 having a chat on the phone with someone about Cricut, which is just ridiculous. Hey Elise, I'm alright, I'm a bit tired as you can probably tell. Hey Charlotte. Yes, just what I need. Oh, 12 weeks pregnant, congratulations Jasmine. Hey Jessica. Awesome, so I'm going to get started. We've got a few on. Alrighty, so what we're going to do is we're going to make some Milestone discs. I've already designed it up, and unfortunately I'm not tech savvy like Paul is, so that, oh, hey Jules, hey Gail, hey Nat, I'm Nat, hey Liz, hey Emma. So I'm not as tech savvy as Paul, so for the jumping and showing you how I designed it, that's just not me, but you can design them as however you please, and I will share the file for what I'm doing afterwards. What I'd like to do is get started on the cutting part, because we are cutting them in full tonight, and weeding and applying. So I thought that whilst they were cutting, I could have a chat to you about some other stuff and then what we're using. Hey Patty, I'm gonna miss everybody, but like, hey everyone. So what I'm using tonight is obviously going to be using some iron-on vinyl. So I know some people use self-adhesive for it, but I'll have a little conversation with you about the different ones. But tonight I'm just using iron-on. So this is just the Cricut Everyday Iron-On. Just your regular, easy to use stuff. It's nothing super duper special. It's special because I love iron-on. That's where my bin is. And whatnot. Give me a second. So I've placed my design onto 2 mats only. I was going to use the Joy for this, but I didn't have enough black Joy vinyl, like the Smart Iron-On. So for those who don't know, this is the Cricut paper trimmer. It has a little extra hand that you can pull out and you can measure your distances. So because I know that I'm using 2 mats completely, and I know that the Cricut iron-on, well this one, the old one used to come but 12 inches by 19 inches, so it used to be 19 inches long in a roll, but I found that the new Strong Bond stuff comes at 24 inches, which means you can get 2 complete mats out of 1 roll. So I'm just going to do my thing where I measure out 12 inches and then the rest will be 12 inches. So that looks, without jumping up and whatnot, that looks about right. And I'll put my trimmer away, so now that I know that that's all done, and by the way I mean just out of the way. Hey to everybody I haven't mentioned. Clarissa, if you can't stay, then we definitely always save our lives afterwards, so they'll be placed into, the link will be placed into the announcement section, or you could probably search Natalie Baby Milestone discs and it will come up as well. Hey Emery, so I'm just putting my vinyl down, and obviously you have probably seen me use before. Oh, there was a bug, squished it. So I use my brayer just to get it nice and smooth on the mat. That way I get a nice even cut and there's not going to be anything that lifts it up. I already have everything on my computer behind me because I need another device to be able to show you it in person, and I can't exactly, it's not like I've got a laptop I can move around. So yeah, Charlotte, you definitely need to get a trimmer. It's amazing. So I've already set the settings to everyday iron-on my maker. I've already, it's all over there on that machine. So I'm just going to hit the start button. Now, let's talk about what we have here. And I'm sorry if this is super loud. I'm, you know, doing my thing. I am using 2 different brands worth of discs. So I got these discs for $2 a packet at like Choice, the discount store, for these ones, and I got these ones from like a cheap shop in town called Mega Choice. So I mean, I don't know, it's kind of like your cheapest chip stores. Can't speak. Hey Beth. Yeah, so you place, sorry Patty, you place the iron on shiny side down. I should have elaborated on that. I will speak about it again. So what I've got here is these discs. Now these are just like a plywood disc. If I open them up, you'll be able to see that they're very much similar to the plywood that's available at Spotlight that you can cut. And if you have access to the plywood at Spotlight and you want to cut them to a specific size, you can definitely by all means do that and use your knife blade at Spotlight. With all the dramas I've had with cutting wood every time I go live, I wasn't prepared to cut wood live tonight. So I got these pretty inexpensive. What I've also done is Sky from Cafe Create, she actually has some MDF versions of these. So I've actually posted a link in the comments. I don't know if it's above or beyond right at this point, I don't know. Sorry, not in the comments, in the description. So she's actually offered us a little deal where you can get $1 off any 2 items that you purchase tonight. I guess it expires tomorrow. And she has these little discs, so she's got 9 in a pack, and they come in a little calico bag so you can keep them all together. And I think you can get a natural or a beige bag and it's $9.90, or you can get a black bag and it's $13.80. But if you're taking $1 off each item, if you're purchasing it, then it comes down a bit, and it's quite cheap when you compare it to some of the other places. That's not saying you can't get them elsewhere. This is just some of the places I've found them that have been cheap. Hey Carmen, hey Joy. So these, as I said, they're 13 centimeters. That's what they tell me on the packet, and they're just really basic ply. I don't see any point of getting and using something super expensive, but having said that, you can get some really nice wood ones, like proper wood ones, and do the same with that. Now, the reason why I'm actually using, I don't even know how many I need, but we'll start with that. The reason why I'm actually using iron-on to apply to the wood is because I really don't want that glossy look. Now, if you're using self-adhesive vinyl, chances are, sorry, 12 in a pack with a bag. Sorry, Sky, I must have read it wrong on your website. So chances are if you don't use like a Mod Podge or a sealer underneath the wood and you're using self-adhesive, it may not stick to it. I've had great luck with the Cricut permanent vinyl sticking to some like wooden jars, but I've also had other wooden jars where it just won't stick very well. And because I don't want that shiny look, because I don't want it to shine if someone's taking a photo with it like 1 week old or whatever written on it, I just thought, well, I'll use iron-on because it's perfectly fine to apply and you don't have any problems with shine. So, but you can paint these if you want to get different colors, you can stain them, you can do anything you want with these discs, just to get the right effect that you like. And also you can use different colored vinyls. I know that I saw some ladies on the page suggesting that they were going to use like a copper or a rose gold on it, so it looks like that engraved wood look, like the laser engraved ones. So I'm just checking to see if I've missed anything. Nothing yet. So yeah, what else do I have to say while I'm waiting for this to cut? Are there any questions in the meantime? I feel like I'm just shuffling cards right now while this cuts. Hey Penny, hey Kelly, hey Karen, no worries, you haven't missed that much other than me putting the mat in the machine. Hey, anybody else? I can see Jess is watching. Okay, I'm guessing it's mirrored. So yes, when you're using iron-on, you must always mirror your design. The only exception that you can get away with that is if you are doing just a shape and it doesn't matter, or it's geometrical and it doesn't matter either way that you use it. Rhiannon, I'm using these discs are from Choice, the discount store, or a Cheapest Chips type store. I think I also found some at a place that we have in town called Mega Choice, but they're not a chain. They're 13 centimeters in diameter. I think the ones that Sky have are about 9 centimeters, but you know, once you're next to a baby, like, they don't need to be too big. Like, you're actually measuring it next to a baby and fitting it in with the photos. Hi. Could you also use infusible ink? On these, you couldn't. However, I have seen someone recently use infusible ink coasters to make theirs, so I thought that was pretty nifty, and I was going to try, but I thought that the coasters might have been a little bit too small for my liking, but that's just because I wanted them consistently. And also, I'm actually gifting these to a friend of mine who just had a baby last week. So I've actually already given her the I'm Here one and the 1 week one, because I didn't want her to miss out on having those milestones for that time, considering she's just past the 1 week, or just on the 1 week. Subi, this is the packet that they came in, so that's one of the packets, and there's another packet, but they're all like, you know, when you go to the cheap shops and you go to the craft section, like, there's always some things like this in there, and they're like little precious pieces. Hi Clover. Carmen, I actually shared a link for purchasing the MDF version of these discs from Cafe Create, so it's in the description above. Hey Michelle. No worries, Subi. So, are there any other questions while I'm talking about this here? I will go through the heat settings when we start heat pressing. I know that a couple of people, when I posted, wooden circle cutouts are sold out on the link. She has a deal with them with a bag. I don't know if that helps you, Jessica. I don't know about the link per se. I was just provided it today. But if you have any issues, maybe contact Sky, or Sky can contact you. What was I going to say? I'll talk about the heat pressing settings, and that one's done. So like always, when we remove anything off our mat, the best way to do it is to remove the mat away from your vinyl. It's not so important with iron-on, but the last thing I want is for it to get crinkled and look ugly when I go to apply it. So my floor bin. So I'm just going to apply, obviously that's the shiny side and that's the dull side. I'm going to apply the shiny side down onto the mat, like all iron-on that we do. And once again, I'm a brayer girl. So I've just sprayed that. Make sure I got it in the guides, so I do apologise. Alrighty, so I'm a really weird weeder, so you're probably going to just be like, oh, Natalie, that's painful looking, but this is just how I weed. So I very rarely cut it into smaller bits, and I'm a very rough weeder. So I trust that my machine has done the job, and some people might get frustrated, but if you're looking for any hints or anything, contact me. Ask away in the group. I'm happy to show close-ups one day of it weeding. I'm trying to do it as close to the camera as I can. Oh, Vicky, that is a game changer, isn't it? Like, no one realizes how much they need it until they don't have it. I had a friend come and purchase one because she saw me using it, and she left her one at my house after a day of crafting together, and I didn't get it back to her for a week because, you know, life happens. And she was like going out of her mind. She didn't realize how much she actually used it until it was not in her craft room. Hey Susie, speak of the devil. Yes, Sharon, I mirror my image, and I don't actually weed a lot with my weeding tool until I get to the inside bits of my numbers and letters and stuff. Just a question about iron-on. I've noticed that when I do a design with my iron-on, after a day or two of wear, the iron-on starts to lift off the shirt. Why would that be? Am I not heating it for long enough? I'm using a normal iron-on cutting set. Look, the Cricut iron-on is actually made to be used in conjunction with an easy press. Now, unfortunately, an everyday iron-on, whilst it will adhere and stuff to an iron, it doesn't actually have controlled temperature settings or an even heating plate. So unfortunately what happens there is you'll end up with some spots that have not had enough heat or pressure applied to them. Cricut is very clear about the fact that for them the most important thing is an even distribution of heat. So like as an example, every type of vinyl actually requires a slightly different temperature. So for you to just put everything on one temp setting for everything when you're using your iron, you're actually not heating the material, the vinyl, to its desired temperature. So you could either be underheating or overheating depending on what vinyl you're using. I personally think I used an iron for 2 months. I hated it because, like you said, things were lifting after a little while. I did have some success with stuff staying on, but like I literally was like doing handstands and stuff on my my iron. Like I think I broke it. And since I've had like my easy presses, I mean, and I do have a commercial heat press, but since I've had my easy presses, I don't even turn my commercial heat press on because A, it takes too long to do it, costs a lot of money and electricity, and it's just not needed. Like I've not had any problems heating my what's that thing called? My easy press stuff up. My husband was laughing at me for using a brayer till he saw why I needed it. See, husbands don't get it. They really, really don't get it. My husband has no idea about anything that happens in his craft room. He comes to me and talks to me about stuff that he's interested in, and I'm like, okay, I've just listened to what you've spoken to about. How about I tell you, look at this, look, it's glitter, and look, it's crafty, and oh my god, here, have some glue. And he just walks away and he's like, you're an idiot, Natalie. When should you mirror an image, please? I haven't tried with iron-on. Anytime you're using iron-on, you really should get into the habit of mirroring. If you don't do it, what you will end up with is, I'll show you. Where, oh, it's over here, hang on. Ugh. So on here, this is what I have. So I'll just see if you can see it. I might have to put a disc behind it. So I'll just wait for it to show on my screen. So at the top, I've not mirrored it, and at the bottom, I've mirrored it. Yep. And you can read that. However, when I go to apply it, I have to apply it the other side down. So what happens is the one that's not mirrored is actually back to front. Hope that makes sense. So it's very important when you're using iron-on and you're using a font or words that you mirror your image, because otherwise you end up with this. Hope that explains it. I had that prepared earlier. What transfer paper do you use? I have terrible problems with transfer paper and 651. I only use Cricut transfer paper, and to be honest, I've never used 651 successfully. So I can't really speak about what is good for that product. However, I've never had any problems with the Cricut transfer tape. But iron-on doesn't need it because it's got its own carrier, which is kind of like a transfer paper. So it's only self-adhesive that you need a transfer paper for. Yes, I'm using iron-on vinyl tonight, Tanya. I did, if you're late to the show, I did actually explain that the reason why I'm not using self-adhesive is because self-adhesive doesn't always adhere to a raw wood. And you can pre-coat your blank with like Mod Podge, but regardless of whether you use matte or glossy Mod Podge, it will always leave that little sheen because it's just a coating on your raw wood. So because these are going to be used for taking photos, I really didn't want that sheen in the photos. So I've decided to go for iron-on because iron-on can be applied to things like wood, like chipboard, like balsa wood. You can, you know, even done it on like pine and stuff like that. So it's a really great alternative, especially for like those, you know, like your Kmart jars, if you're wanting to do like your one real Smartie or something for the teacher or something sweet, or even your tea, your coffee and your sugar. Oh, I really miss my long nails now. But for me, my go-to with wood will always be iron-on because I just find it flawless. Like I think that the finish is second to none. And I'll see what else I've missed. When cutting vinyl, do you always use default pressure? Yes, I do use my default pressure unless I find that, unless like I've cut something recently and I've noticed that it's not really, like maybe the blade's getting a little bit blunt, and then if it's not really cutting through because the blade feels like it's getting blunt, then I will just add extra pressure so that I get a little bit more use out of my my blade. Because I mean, whilst I can go and buy a new blade and everything, and I can attempt to sharpen blades, nothing is quite the same as just getting as much use. I'm cheap, like I will try and I will not do anything that's going to hurt my machine, but I will try and make my blades and everything last as long as possible. Yes, Janine, sorry, we didn't super duper announce that we're starting early, but for the last, I don't know, 3 weeks or so, we've been starting at 7 o'clock just because it's been quite painful for Jules and Paul, who have the kids, and really I'm tired and wrecked after a full day of working from home. So yeah, we've just been starting a little bit earlier, but we did announce it when I did my post to share what we were going to be doing tonight. Elise, I got my raw wooden discs from a place called Choice the Discount Store. You'd probably find them at like cheapest chips or bargain places. I can't really say exactly where you can find the exact ones that I use because I don't know what's available in your local area. However, I have provided a link, and I think Chris also provided a link for Cafe Create, and they do an MDF version which would look amazing, painted even, or something like that. So they have a little special going, so if you look in the description, I have a little discount code that you can use to get a little bit of a discount on products. So what do we got here? You like the 7 p.m. start? I don't know, this is my first 7 p.m. I'll tell you soon whether I like it. I will answer your question in a moment, Kim, as I start to apply. I might even not weed this one on and finish that one later. I might just do the ones I've got just so that we're not going super duper late tonight, because you all know that I love to take up everyone's time. And what else have I missed here? Sky's answered the discs. I don't even know the best way to explain what MDF is because I'm not like nerdy, but it's kind of like a harder version of chipboard, if that makes sense. Like it's like layers of it compacted. I don't know what MDF stands for. I'm so not smart. But it's like the stuff that you find all the Kaisercraft stuff at in Spotlight, like all those like shapes and stuff. You're jealous of all these cheap shops. Paul, you would have so many in Melbourne. Like you just need to explore and investigate. It's known as superwood. There you go. Medium density fiberboard. Meh. Look at you guys go. I mean, I don't want to be rude, but look at all you nerds. So, I'm just going to place my machine slightly to the side because I really just don't want to lift it right now. Like I said, I'm lazy. And I'll weed this one separately, but I think we've got enough here to show you the process. So, because I'm lazy, I need to find my power, which is under the table. So I'm so sorry if this stuffs up. I may have to go under the table. Full of nasty chemicals, is it? I have no idea because I don't really look into that stuff. I should really be smart. Sorry, guys. Ugh. Putting the Easy Press plugged in. Oh, I thought I was going to fall then. Alrighty, so what we're going to do is we're going to apply. I'm just going to move that off here. So I'm just going to turn my Easy Press on. This is the 6x7 Easy Press. It was my baby until the mini came around, so I guess this is the older brother. I don't think I've missed anything. So I did check the heat guide before I came on live, so I knew exactly what I was going to be pressing. I need to set my temperature to 150 degrees, which it's set to, and to, let me check, I feel like it should have been 45 seconds or something. Let me double check that. Sorry, I wrote 30, but I had this feeling that the last time I used this was for wood and I had it at 45. So let me just double check. So I'm just typing in heat guide for my Easy Press, and that's in my computer. It's the first one that pops up on the screen. I'm using my Easy Press 2, not that you can see this, but like you can picture it in your head. I'm clicking that I'm using my Easy Press 2, I'm using Everyday Iron-On, and I'm using wood as my base. I'm using a Cricut Easy Press matte, and I can apply, and it's 150 for 40 seconds. No wonder why I was going crazy. It's definitely more than 30 seconds. So I'm just setting that, and it's just getting to temperature. It's sitting at about 130 at the moment. What else have I got here? No ice grinder. I'm not using MDF though, David, so I'm not sure if that really applies to what you're talking about. The large mat, I originally got this from the US, but you can get it from Craft Online. mine has like Paul's, it's got like a pretty pattern on the other side. Thank you, Bridget. My chair is from Officeworks. It was my husband's birthday present to me because, you know, we love this kind of nerdy stuff. Marlene, Marlerie, sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I would use iron-on over self-adhesive any day of the week, but that's my preference. Some people are different, but that's my preference. So I've just got my design. I'm just going to literally, I need to preheat. So we're supposed to preheat for 5 seconds. It's just enough so that it has some heat from behind and gets rid of any moisture. So I've just put my design on there. Oh, thanks, David. And then we press go. Just making sure I haven't. Oh, I can see Renee is watching. Happy birthday, Renee. I didn't message you today because I'm a really, really shit employee. But, you know, happy birthday. Thank you, Paul, for sharing that information to Tammy. And done. So it's a cold peel, they're really hot. So I literally just put it to the side and I'll like take it off. So, and I'm really not a perfectionist when it comes to how to adhere. Like in terms of the, what's that thing I'm saying? Spacing. I'm a very much eyeballer girl. I'm going to take this off. I'm going to just plug my Easy Press into something else. I don't know whether it's this. I'm hoping I don't lose comments, so I'm just plugging it in direct because it just kept going higher than it needs to be. So just give me a moment. So I'm just plugging it into a direct source instead of a power board. Yes, it's a self-healing mat, Amanda. So there we go, we're at temperature now. There's not a lot of moisture in these, thankfully. But yes, like Paul said, the preheating is to remove any moisture. There you go. I just fixed my problem. So I don't know if you guys could see that or could tell I was getting frustrated. I had set my temperature to 150, and because my machine was plugged into a double adapter and had a couple of devices plugged in, it actually changed. The temperature kept going high and low. So I just removed it and plugged it in direct, and now it's like fine and controlling itself. So if you ever have any problems with your machine jumping around, then you should definitely troubleshoot that and just plug it directly into one device. So I'll just get a couple of these done. Self-healing mat. So you can like cut on it and your cut can go into it, but it won't leave like a big open slice. It kind of fuses, or the layers inside of it fuses it together. No worries, Alicia. I mean, haven't really missed much. I've just talked about cutting it on the iron-on. I've cut 2 sheets. I've only weeded 1 at the moment. feel like I'm just reading comments and not understanding anything right now. I'm so tired. I jumped out too quickly. Now, when you're using the Easy Press, sometimes the temperature will go up and down whilst you're pressing, because obviously when you take it off the cradle, when you place it on something, it takes in the heat or the temperature of what you've just placed it on. So I'll do however many more are here. I think there's only 3 more here. And then we'll, oh, didn't. So obviously because this is cold when you first use it, it sucks in all of that cold and overcompensates. Yeah, look, I agree about this Easy Press machine. I don't know how I would survive if I didn't have all of the ones I have, because they all have a different purpose for me. I really love them. Suzette, when you say what are these used for, what are you referring to? Like, are you referring to the discs? Are you referring to the Easy Presses? Like, what are you asking about specifically? Because my head doesn't work. Super hot. This template I actually created myself, Sue, so I will actually share it on the page after I get off tonight, so that anyone who wants to use it can use it as a nice base. It uses all Cricut images and fonts, so if you have Cricut access, you'll be able to use it completely for free. The project, so the discs are used to go in photos of the baby at their certain milestones, so it's a really great way for people to capture how big or how much a baby has grown over the months or weeks. Yeah, it's Juanita, it's the 6x7, isn't it, Paul? Or is it 6x8? I'm confused now. I always thought it was a 6x7. It's too hot for me to measure, so you're on your own. But it's the baby, not the mini. And you now have me doubting. It's definitely not 8, it's definitely 7. Sorry. Had me measuring against my self-healing mat there. Pick up your game, Paul, come on. And now I know I don't have all of them here, like I said, I've still got some on the mat. So, yeah, you can definitely do this same thing, Donna, for pregnancy pics. So obviously you can have, especially people do it for their, if they've had IVF, so they can have like the, transfer days and all those different, I can't even think, like that's how stupidly tired I am. But yeah, so people can make these, so it's like, you've got the 2-week wait, or, you had your transfer day, or, we got the positive, so it's the day you got your big fat positive. And like you said, for pregnancy, so you do different months or weeks worth of milestones, and you can put little pictures of them as to what size the baby is at the time. So there's definitely a lot of room for options. Obviously when I decided to make this project, my friend was well baked. Well, her baby was baked, she wasn't. So now these are cool to touch. I'm just slowly peeling the transfer off, just so that in case there's none transferred. So I'm just going through the motions. That one we'll do next. That one's next. Yes, Lauren, you could stain the wood and then use a white HTV. I've personally done that, not with Milestone discs, but I've done that for like welcome to the wedding of signs. I've stained the wood and then used white iron-on. You just need to make sure your stain is completely, well adhered onto the wood and has had time to like dry and all that properly. Lee, you can use permanent, but sometimes permanent doesn't like to stick to wood or MDF properly. So I'm choosing to use iron-on for multiple reasons. I don't want to do a coat of Mod Podge first, so that means I don't want to have a shiny gloss to my discs, because chances are they might be using flash photography. You just don't know how people are going to take their photos. I don't want to risk there being a flash show up in the discs. How do you know if it's hot or cold peel? I just peek when I've lifted. Okay. Couple of tests. First and foremost is if you're using the Cricut Easy Press Guide, it actually tells you on the Easy Press Guide whether a product is cold or warm peel. Another little trick though is generally with iron-on, if it has a sticky layer, like a sticky transfer, it will be a warm peel. If it has a not so sticky transfer, it'll be a cold peel. Now, because I don't want these to lift at all, a warm peel can still be peeled cold, but a cold peel can't be peeled warm. So even if it's a warm peel and you peel it cold, there's not going to be any difference to what you're doing. But if you have a cold peel and you peel it warm, the whole thing will just lift back up because it hasn't had time for the glue to set. Which Cricut did I finish everything in your question? Yeah, sorry. Which Cricut do you recommend for is good for a beginner? Tiffany, this question always gets me because everybody does different projects. So it really depends on what projects you want to make. For me, if I said I'm getting machine, I'm a beginner, the software is the same for all machines. So it really doesn't matter which machine you have in terms of your skill level. But I know as somebody who is highly addictive, if I see someone do something, I want to be able to do it too. And I'll buy all the supplies for it. So for me personally, I would not have gone away from picking the maker when the option was available. Purely on the basis that I have options if I want to grow and expand my knowledge and my crafting abilities. Having said that, if you have a small space, the joy is really good. And if your budget is just what it is and you're only thinking about doing iron-on and self-adhesive, then there's nothing wrong, and cardstock, then there's nothing wrong with the Explore Air 2. It still cuts a lot of materials and not just the 3 I've mentioned, but you don't have those extra features that the Maker have, and that's the only difference that I would put it down to. Is if you are the kind of person that you think you'll buy the Air 2 and then go, oh, 2 weeks later, I just saw someone cut wood, I want to do that, now I'm upgrading to the Maker, then you may as well just put the money in and upgrade to the Maker straight away. So clearly I've missed some questions. See, I would have to iron in order so I knew which one was the next course. Oh, I just watched where I put everything. You can definitely make these double-sided. I was actually tempted to do that, but I don't know, I didn't for whatever reason. If only I'd known about Cricut years ago, I would have done this with your kids. Bub will be 8 months tomorrow. Aww. Just do one for every year until they're 18, make them pose and I'm 10 years old today. I don't know. I hope you're not confused, but reach out on the page, ask the questions. There's a really good guide in our announcement section. Oh, Tracy, you've lost sound. That's not good. Note to self, leave to cool. Awesome. They look great. I've yet to purchase Cricut Maker, but I just want to make sure it's worth the money. So the Maker is about $500, heat press is about $300. Do you get a starter kit when buying first? It depends on where you're buying from. Like most places don't have a starter kit. However, if you purchase from somewhere like Costco or you purchase online from when TVSN have their sales, then of course they come as a little bundle and you get like some stuff to start with. From Spotlight and Craft Online, you literally just get the machine. Inside the machine, like the Maker, you'll come with a blue mat, a pink mat, I think a pen, and the rotary blade and the fine point blade. But you won't come with any consumables. That's obviously a little bit additional. However, we do have a couple of guides which will help you decide on what things you want to do and use depending on the type of projects you want to make. So we can always recommend things that we think you should get, like tools and different bits and pieces based on the type of crafts you're interested in. Go out and come back in. Yes, go out and come back in. I was too impatient to wait for the maker to come into stock, so I got the Air 2, but I still love it. But I wish I could engrave only setback for me. Yeah, see, everybody's a little bit different. I need to stop playing with tools. Everyone's a little bit different. As I said, some people regret it, some people don't. So you just need to work out what's going to be right for you. What press do you recommend, please? I have the mini that I have not used. It's hard because I've got all of the presses, but if I had to pick the one that I think is the most versatile, I don't know, I feel like I break out the 9x9 more than any of the others. So I feel like the 9x9 is a good one because, you know, women's shirts, I don't normally do any more than 8 inches across. Or you can still do little stuff on it. I don't know, 9x9 feels a little bit good for me, but you can, whatever, depends on what you're making. What would you do for layering iron-on in terms of peeling cold, cool or warm? So, Rhoda, I would, if it's a warm peel transfer, then I would warm peel, because what you do when you're layering iron-on is the idea is to just tack it long enough that, like heat it for long enough that it just tacks to it. So you don't heat for the full like 30 seconds or whatever is recommended. You just heat for long enough so that it kind of attaches it, but it won't come off. And then when you add your next layer, you do the same thing if you're doing multiple layers, and then at the end you do a final press, and then that fully adheres it to the bottom. So it really depends on your vinyl. I can't really give that exact advice without knowing, but normally with my vinyls, I use stuff that's warm peel anyway. Awesome, I've answered some questions. So I'm not going to do these ones on the live. I've got like 10 minutes left and whatnot. But I'll take some photos of it all finished. If I've missed any questions, I'll go through and ask them. But obviously, this is the result. So this design I'll share. You can alter it and add any little vine or flower or whatnot that you like. Go away, bug. Sorry, I'm getting attacked here. And I'll share that on the page so that you'll be able to use it and access it. What else will I do? Oh, we have a winner to announce. So, last week when Paul was doing his Break the Internet print and cut, we announced that we were going to do our own little separate giveaway outside of the amazing pack that Cricut provided for us on the live. So, we had some really amazing entries on some print and cut projects you guys wanted to do. So, if we can have a drum roll. And this is going to be the really awkward part because it takes ages for the stuff to filter through to me. Drum roll. And a drum roll. And a drum roll. Come on guys, drum roll. Oh yeah, I should turn you off. Is there a drum roll? Sorry guys, I'll do my own if I have to. I'm always sitting here waiting for the drum roll and I'm getting nothing. Nothing, but you guys are probably doing it. Oh, here we go. They're finally coming through. See, that's how long the lag is. Thanks, Anita. Thanks, Kelly. Without further ado, wow, I can't word. The winner of the pack we have provided, I can't remember what's in it. I think there's some vinyl and some... I don't even remember. Some sticker paper, some printable vinyl and some other little goodies is Nora Rose. So we'll post after this on the page, but congratulations Nora Rose for your entry. We look forward to seeing what you make with your little gift pack. And sorry, I keep looking over. I'm such a terrible person. And if you can contact me, Nora, if you're watching. If you're not, then obviously I'll tag you later. But if you can contact me with your address and I can get that little goodie pack out to you tomorrow maybe. Well, not, you won't receive it tomorrow. I'll get it in the post tomorrow. So next week we have Jules. She'll be going live at 7 o'clock most likely, unless the kids are being a pain and she needs a little bit extra time, but we'll give you as much warning as we possibly can. She's a little bit mysterious this week. Jules is trying to work out the best thing that she can show you, so we're still trying to work out. It's going to be a little bit of a mystery. So stay tuned. We'll give you plenty of warning in case it's something you want to tune into. And yeah, don't forget to check out Cafe Create's codes and everything for, it's valid until 8th of May, which is tomorrow. The code at checkout is Nats Live 7 May. So it's valid for Nats Live on the 7th of May. Super, super genius. Sorry, Sky. But yeah, looking forward to seeing you all and seeing what you create. I'd love to see you guys use the design. I'd love to see you guys make your own. You know, show me what you come up with. And yes, Kanisha, you can watch the video again. We'll save it as soon as I finish. As soon as I hit finish, it'll pop up on yours for replay. So have a wonderful night, guys. Sorry this was a shorty, but I promised myself it would be short. I'll take everything finished for you later. And until next time. Bye all. And